I got to share my screen. The geometric mean, there's a formula for it, but did you only do geometric means for two numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall? Okay. Because I believe the geometric mean is the square root of 8 times 14. Do you recall that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is the square root of 132. And then you got to break that apart. 2 and 66, 2 and 33, 3 and 11. So there's a pair of 2's. So it becomes 2 square root 33. Let me know if there's anything unclear on that. It's just a formula. All right.
Okay.
Question 2. So it's the square root of the two numbers, and you have to multiply them together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So PS here. All right. So we're trying to find P to S. That's here. So PS is it's two things. It's the, I'm guessing it's the long leg of this triangle on the left here. It's the short leg of this triangle over here. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can tell me if this is unclear. So, let me just put a number here. Let me put 8 here. So what is 8? A is it's the long leg of the, I don't know, it's this triangle number 1 over here. They're not real good about their size. So we need something else from that triangle. We're going to call X, which is the well, I actually don't know. Let's call it the short leg. I can't really tell. Equals this other triangle here. We'll call this triangle 2. We need the long leg of triangle number 2. Now, for this thing to work, it's got to be X again up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the short leg is 6. Now, I might have this slightly flipped, but it won't change the answer here. So you cross multiply. 6 times 8 equals X times X. So 48 equals X squared.
Do you leave it like
that?
that?
No, I mean, you have to take the square root of both sides. So X is going to equal the square root of 48. Try reducing that on your own. If you've got it, I'll certainly help.
Wait, I'm confused how you break down the square root of 48.
You start with 2. Does 2 go into 48? It does. 2 and 24. Then you try it again. 2 and 12. And you keep trying it. 2 and 6. 2 and 3. This case, it just kept working. So you circle pairs. Pairs here. So there's 2 pairs. So for each pair, you bring a number out. That's X equals 2 from one of those pairs, another 2 from one of those pairs. That's the square root of whatever is left over, which happens to be 3. So X equals 4 square root 3.
Okay.
Okay. So 3 is similar. Gosh, I feel like I was doing this with a student recently. Maybe it was you. I don't recall. These are all sort of unclear. The explanation I'm giving isn't great. There's 3 triangles here. There's the small one, the medium one, and the large one. And there's 3 potential proportions you can set up, but you generally have to match the things like from one to the other. Like what is X? X is 2 things. It's the short leg of the large triangle. You see that? But it's also for the small triangle here, it's the hypotenuse, right? So that's another possibility. So X is also the hypotenuse of the small triangle. Okay. So now, what else do we have of the large triangle? Well, of the large triangle, we have a hypotenuse. Do you see that? So see how this kind of match? Large triangle hypotenuse. That's 6 plus 2. That's 8. Great. I guess. What is this really right? There's no way that's 6. Well, it could be, but it seems ridiculous. It seems like that should be 2 and that should be 6.
Yeah.
I know you're not sure. Okay. So now, do we have a short leg of anything else? Well, we actually have the short leg of the small triangle. Small triangle, we have the short leg. The short leg is 2. That's there. And then do we have the hypotenuse of the small triangle? We do. It's x. Okay, so by setting up this sort of like what it is and what you get this proportion. You get x over 2 equals 8 over x. And then you multiply diagonally, so you get x squared equals 16. Square root of both sides, x equals 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move to the next one here. Oh. Find y. Okay.
Wait, that's all you have to do for number 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Find y. Okay. So y here, like when I look at y, it's a couple of things. It's the long leg. Y is the long leg of the medium triangle. So do we have anything else of the medium triangle? We don't. Although I guess this is a 6. I guess you can use the Pythagorean theorem for this to find the leg here. Just stand by, just hold on for just a second, please. All right, I'm back here. So on the medium triangle here, you have the long leg. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything else in the medium triangle? I said, well, kind of. You kind of have the short leg because the fact that you can the short leg is this side right here is 6 squared minus 2 squared square rooted. So it's the square root of 36 minus 4, 32. Okay. Now, do we have the long leg and the short leg of something else? Well, we kind of do. We have the long leg of the small triangle. The long leg of the small triangle is the square root of 32, and the short leg is 2. So like this chart, like hopefully this chart, I know it's probably different what you're seeing in class, but it tells you what is each in each place, and you have to pair those up.
Mm-hmm.
I know they give you some formulas, AB equals CD or something, but that's not really useful. So you diagonally multiply here, 2y equals, and the square root of 32 times square root of 32 is square root of 32 squared, which is 32. Square root of a times the square root of a equals a. So y equals 16. All right, number 5. And your goal is just to get through all of these?
Yes, please.
Okay. Find the hypotenuse of a right triangle with legs that measure 12 and 9. So here is our right triangle, and here's a leg that's 9, here's a leg that's 12. The Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's the Pythagorean theorem. You have your legs are a and b, and c is your hypotenuse. The a and b have to be your legs, and c is always your hypotenuse. So we can use that here. We're trying to find the hypotenuse, c. 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. So I'll do some shortcut here for you. This is 81 plus 144 equals c squared. C squared equals 225. C equals the square root of 225, which is 15. So you definitely need to know the Pythagorean theorem. That's needed for you to do well on this test. If I assume that's what's upcoming. Okay. number 6. Man, they make this drawing is so it's so unreasonable. The numbers they give you 26 down each length, and then oh, by the way, that's only 8.
Mhm.
This is there's some things you probably learned earlier in the class that tell you that this is equal to this, and that means that this length is equal to this length. So you have a triangle here on the right, which is 4 and 26 with a right angle here. And they want you to find x. All right, so how do you find x? Well, it's the same thing as before. You have a, b, and c. We have the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we're trying to find b. So it's 4 squared plus x squared equals 26 squared. Okay, so we have to square both of these. So I do not know 26 squared off the top of my head. It's pretty large. It's more than 25 squared, which is 625. So this is 676. 16 plus x squared. Subtract 16 from both sides. X squared equals 660. If you take the square root of both sides, the square root of 660. This is one of those, again, we have to reduce. So 2 and 330. 2 and 115. So 2 no longer works. Okay, so you can't try 2 anymore. So you have to try something else. So you try 3. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work, but 5 works. 5 is 23. And you realize these are both prime numbers, so you stop there. So x equals 2. You pull a 2 out because of this pair. Square root of what's left over, which is the 115, because that's the last thing.
Okay.
I feel like some of these are rushed, so I wish we could. I wish that wasn't so, but that is unfortunately. I mean, I can always give you another example if you want. I haven't looked ahead here to see how many you have to do. What do we got here? So we're going up to. Yikes. Okay. I mean, we're moving at a pretty good clip, but I don't know that we're going to get through all of these. We'll see.
Okay.
All right, so this number 7 is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So 45, 45, 90 triangle. If you know the leg, like let's say you know the value of the leg, either leg, they're the same, by the way. This is 45 and this is 45. The hypotenuse is always the leg, whatever the value of the leg is, times the square root of 2. So this is telling you that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, because if that's 45 and that's 90, then that's 45. So C, the hypotenuse, is your leg, 24. C is your leg times the square root of 2. And that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wow, you got a lot going on here. Sorry, I'm just sneaking a peek ahead here. 7, 8. 8 is a. Wow, the scan just doesn't come out very well. 8 is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And that's another type. There's 2 types you have to know. One is 30, 60, 90. One is 45, 45, 90. So the triangle on the left here, I'm going to just draw it, I'm going to parse it out here. This is 60, this is 27, and this is x. This is 30 up here. So the 30, 60, 90 reference triangle, this is 30 degrees, this is 60. So the short leg is called x. I know that there's an x there, but it's a reference triangle. The hypotenuse is double x. Whatever this is, it's double. So this short leg is half of whatever the hypotenuse is. The long leg is x squared 3. You're given the hypotenuse. So 27 equals 2x. So x equals 13.5. But that's not what we're asked to find here. What you're asked to find is this height here. This height here. This height is the long leg of the triangle. It's the long leg. The long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3. The short leg in this case is 13.5. So the height there, the x that they're asking you to find is 13.5 times the square root of 3. All right,
Okay.
up to number 9. Do you have a calculator handy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If you're taking any other classes, you want to make sure that your mode for your calculator is in degrees, because if it's in radians, you'll get the wrong answer and you won't know why. And you may not even know. It might seem totally reasonable. So we're trying to find x in a right triangle. This is a right triangle. There's two types of triangle problems that you get. One is right triangle, and the other is not right triangles. And there's this whole way of thinking that we've been covering down this branch, but it looks like we go down this other branch in a few problems. So everything I've said only applies to right triangles. This is a right triangle. You're trying to find x. You're given this angle. You have at your disposal sine, cosine, and tangent. And you might have remembered SOHCAHTOA or something else. There's lots of other ways you can remember this. This angle right here, relative to this angle, you have the opposite side and the hypotenuse. Which of these three is the opposite side and the hypotenuse? It is sine. Sine of 24 equals x over 18. X because it's the opposite, 18 because it's the hypotenuse. To solve for x, you multiply both sides by 18. So 18 sine 24 equals x. So grab your calculator. You said you had it out here. Make sure your mode is in degrees and do 18 sine 24. And let me know what you get for that.
18 sine 20. I got negative 16.3.
Okay, so the you must be in radian. If you're not sure how to check that, I can help that. Yeah, you're definitely in radian. So you have a TI 83 or 4.
Yeah, 84. Yeah.
Mode settings. So mode is under second format.
Oh, you click second, then mode?
Yes.
Oh, my teacher didn't go over this. Second mode. Second mode. Okay, and then
You want to make sure you want to highlight degree and hit enter.
okay, it says it's in degree already.
Okay. Is it highlighted? Like, is it in black? Okay. Well, this is what it should look like. Hopefully this pastes in. You need that highlighted.
Yeah, that's what mine looks like.
Okay, I'll try it again. 18 sine 24. I did see that it is negative 16 point whatever if it's in radian.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Great. Okay, so the next set of problems, questions here. Don't do that. All right, find x to the nearest degree. Oh no, yeah. Okay, so it says nearest hundredths, so 2 decimal places, got that. Number 10 here, it says find x to the nearest degree. Let me snip that in. So what in this problem, you're given another right triangle. X though is an angle. This is different. Before we were using angle and a side to find a side. Now you're using two sides to find an angle. So this is the angle, and again, you got SOHCAHTOA here. Relative to this angle, you have the adjacent side and the hypotenuse. So cosine of x equals 6 over 16. So you might think, well, how do I do this? Well, there's above cosine, there's a second cosine produces cosine inverse. That's how you undo x, cosine of x. So x is the cosine inverse 6/16. So that's you're going to hit second cosine, and if you do that with 6/16, you want to verify that you get this. It's 67.98 degrees.
Okay, that's what I got.
Great. Okay, so number 11 here. 11's kind of going back to 30, 60, 90 triangles. Should have done this earlier. Okay, they want you to find x and y. X is here, and this is the triangle we're going to focus on, this one here. So I'm going to just redraw it here with the stuff that's given. This is 8 square root 3, this is 60, and that means that this is 30. The short leg, I didn't say this earlier, the short leg is always across from 30, so that's x, that's your short leg. Your long leg and your hypotenuse your hypotenuse is 2x, your long leg is x squared 3. So this is a little bit uncomfortable for students because you set the reference side, that's the reference side to the known side. So you said 8 square root 3 equal to 2x. That means that x is 4 square root 3. You just divide both sides by 2. Now that is not this x. That's this x, the short leg. In this picture, what is x? In this triangle up here, what is x? It's the long leg. All that. So the long leg is always the short leg times the square root of 3. Do we know the short leg? Yes, it's 4 square root 3. So the long leg, this x here, which is your long leg, is, and I always struggle to explain this because it's really unclear. It's 4 square root of 3 times the square root of 3. The words seem to be better. So square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So that's only part of this. So this triangle over here, I'm going to redraw it. This is 12, this is 30, and this is y. Do you follow that?
Yeah.
Okay. 30 is across from the short leg, so 12 is the short leg. The hypotenuse is always 2 times the short leg. The short leg is 12, so the hypotenuse here is 2 times 12, which is 24.
Okay.
These other, okay, 11, okay, 12, okay, we're up to 12, all right. Swimmer is 5,000 meters from a cliff. If the angle of depression from the top of the cliff to the swimmer is 14 degrees, how tall is the cliff? Okay. Swimmer's 5,000 meters from a cliff. That's weird. If the angle, okay, how tall is, okay. So here's the cliff. The swimmer is over here. So we're trying to find the height, and the swimmer is 5,000 meters away. So here's your swimmer. The angle of depression, this is important here. The angle of depression, it's this angle right here. It's 14 degrees. The angle of depression is always equal to the angle of elevation, which happens to be right here. These are always the same. All right, so we want to find the height relative to this angle, and we've got 3 options. So, TOA again. What do you got? What do you got relative to 14? What is H? Is it O, H, or A? I'll give you a hint. 5,000 is adjacent. So what is H? It's not the hypotenuse. It is the opposite. So you've got the opposite and the adjacent. The opposite and the adjacent is tangent. Tangent of 14 degrees is h over 5,000. So how do you solve that for h? What's the math operation you do there?
You multiply by 5,000.
Yes. So your h is 5,000 tangent of 14.
I got 1246.64.
Okay. And that's your answer.
Okay.
We're really getting close to the end here. I know you probably need to go through all of this. I'm going to go as long as I can here, but is there some questions you want me to go through for sure out of the remaining ones here?
I don't really know how to do like a lot of this, to be honest.
Yeah, I can sense that, and no judgment. There's a lot here. I mean, you've covered everything with triangles, and it's quite okay. Well, I'll just keep going. Yeah, definitely feel for you. It's hard to learn this stuff, especially the way you guys are doing it. Okay, this is your first not right triangle. And in class, you learned about two ways to solve not right triangles. The first is law of sines, and that is what we are going to apply here. Law of sines is used when you have a side and an angle pair. See how these are opposite from each other?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need another side angle pair. Well, x is across from this angle, but we don't have it. But can we find it? Meaning, like, can you calculate that value?
Yes.
So what is this angle? Well, it's 180 minus 57 minus 31. So I think it's 92 degrees.
Okay.
All right, so now we can use the law of sines. The law of sines depends what you're trying to find, but it usually goes like this. It's side over sine of an angle equals side over the sine of an angle. So notice you're trying to find x. X is the sine over the angle across from it, which is 92. The side 14 is across from 31. So that's the sine of 31.
Mm-hmm.
So we can solve for x by cross multiplying here. You get x sine of 31 equals 14 sine 92. So x equals, you just divide this out, 14 sine 92 over sine 31. So enter that into your calculator.
Okay. 14 sine 92 over sine.
Did you get 27.2?
Mm-hmm.
Great. May I know what time your exam is tomorrow?
8:30.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can get that delayed at all, I think I'd be happy to do like another 30 minutes with you to help out at some point, but I can't do it between now and then. If there's a way for you to delay your test, you definitely need a little more help here to be able to get through this. And
Okay.
I don't mean that to be negative. I'm trying not to be. It's just there's so much here, and we didn't get through it all, and we're not going to get through it all. Even if we had another 30 minutes, it'd still be tight. So
Mm-hmm.
if there's another option, maybe talk with your parents, let them know where you're at. Um, that would be my counsel to you. So
Okay.
I'll send you the notes out and the screen recording out shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.